for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot on my shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Clydesdale Media Roundtable. I know Kenneth's already here saying there should be a lot to talk about. What's odd is this is really like our lifestyle type show that we do once a week. So it's not like super serious CrossFit show.
I'm a super serious CrossFitter.
But yeah, but we talk about like how it affects us and like the people around us. And we have our third.
Yeah.
There she is.
Hey.
Thought it was early.
But
a
lot of shit has happened in the last 24 to 48 hours. So we're probably going to be talking about that. So, but first of all, we always open this up with, how are you guys all doing? Anything big happen for you guys this weekend?
Well, I shared with you guys on the text stream, but I was pretty excited that Schmoopy, who
AKA Nate Radowski.
my kid, it seems like he's still a young kid, but he's an adult. And he took his level 1 and passed and has started to do some coaching. And it's been awesome to kind of watch that path. And he's always, like I've said before, he's always coached me like at home or something, if we're in the garage. He's got a great eye. But to see him get to explore that with other athletes is cool.
So cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't even imagine if like Corey got her level 1, how I would feel. So I can't imagine.
Yeah.
And he's using it, correct?
What?
And he's using it.
Yeah, exactly.
I would just be happy if my kids showed up at my gym and worked out every once in a while. That would be really nice.
Yeah.
My daughter's boyfriend came to the gym last week. He asked if he could come, and he showed up with a friend of his, and I watched him on the security camera fiddle around with the Wi-Fi to try to get the music going for about 20 minutes. Him and his buddy. And part of me wanted to just click on and talk to him about it. I was like, I'm just going to let them figure it out.
Yep, for sure. Oh, People's Champ is showing up.
So the question is, he's here. He won't. I can't get him in.
Well, that's because we're 3
He's
wide.
banned.
Well, usually, I'm trying. There we go. There we go.
Yep.
Oh, crap. I meant to do a wardrobe change. I meant to wear this new shirt that I got. It's so cool.
It is so cool. It's that thick boy.
Oh,
Only took me a full season to get it to you.
I know. That's okay. I love it.
thick boys.
Thank you.
Thick boy.
Yeah. Speaking of thick boy, he's going to be on the show Thursday, 11 a.m., talking about how he created this whole thing, and in less than a year is already going to be one of the presenting sponsors of the Masters CrossFit Games. It's going to be, he is working with Thunderbro. He's working with a bunch of top level organizations making their shirts and stuff. So we're going to dive into all of that on Thursday.
Is Thunderbro still a thing?
It is.
Every once in a while.
And
you mean after what's his face left, Jason Ackerman, they still survived?
And
somehow.
Charles Worth left, I'm pretty sure.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Camille has her thing too. And they're combined as one business now.
Okay.
So he's covering.
That's awesome.
So Schmoopy has his level 1. He's using it as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie somehow got enough Wi-Fi to get into the meeting today with
So
the
far.
5 switches going and the 2 PS2s.
And Charlie and I aren't fighting because he worked out today.
I did. It was not fun.
I worked out today
What'd you do?
because I couldn't work out yesterday. I'm leading a project at work, and yesterday was sign-off day. So I got up. I did it at my morning break. It was awful. It was Annie with a cap of 15 minutes.
Okay.
And whatever time you have left is 10, 20, 30 on of cow bike and wall balls.
Oh.
We're my gym is back on track with your programming, so that's our workout for today as well.
I should have paced Annie much more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think in the notes though it said like go for a PR or something. And I was like, what? That's crazy.
The wall ball, I just don't have the timing back on the wall balls yet. Like
Hmm.
and I only have a 20-pound ball, so there's no scaling in my garage.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just ugh.
Is it 1,897 degrees where you guys live too?
It actually cooled off today.
Yes, but it had been. Yes.
Yeah. It's going to be 100 degrees here tomorrow.
We're finally getting some rain, which we needed. And now I know how old I am because I've been worried about the rain because of my yard.
Yep, that's where I'm at right now. There's a new grass patch out front and a tree that I planted, and it's like,
I planted a vegetable garden for the first time in like probably 10 years. And I'm so worried about my veggies getting their water. It's been freaking me out that we've gotten no rain.
I know.
We're old. We're all old.
But I got one pepper already. So
what, Charlie?
I don't do any of this stuff.
Well, listen, did you get your mower fixed?
I did.
Because your wife fixed it, or you got a new one?
I had to fix it.
Okay.
Got a new one.
She sent you a fake video. Oh, look at me, I fixed it, and then it didn't work.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Julie's always going to fix something. We've talked about this the last couple of weeks.
Our projects.
Like 10 minutes in and says, F it. And then I'm left to come in and clean up whatever mess she's made.
Yep. I feel like it's a trap.
Oh, it is a complete strategy. It is like she knows that it's going to drive me nuts to have like all the paint supplies out or all of this out. And then I'm going to go finish whatever she started.
Yeah, but at least you guys have like joint projects, right? That's kind of nice to be able to work on them together.
Joint. It's like I'll be away getting groceries or I'll be at work doing something, come home to the mess that was started without my knowledge. And now now my whole day is cleaning up whatever was started.
Life is
have your spouses ever initiated a project and done something that you absolutely hated or like had to veto or said like, nope, we're not doing this?
No, because I'm usually the one in charge of the ideas and just
I'll plead the fifth.
Charlie, is Lisa in charge of like the decorating and designing things?
Yes.
Okay. Is Jules part of that too, Scott? She's in charge of the design.
Pretty much.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I have this room. Everything else is decorated by her.
So update on the deck project. That's what I was doing today. So I had replaced all the boards and I told you that I did most of it, but Scott, I'm not authorized to use a saw. So Scott had to do that part, but I did everything else. And then it was too hot last week, so I didn't do any painting. And then 2 days ago, I went out and power washed the deck and cleaned it off. And then today I started painting. I'm about halfway done. And then I had to pack up because there's rain happening. But it's much. Are
you painting or staining?
Well, it's a deck over stain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So using my fitness there because that 5-gallon bucket that I'm carrying around of paint.
What do you do with Murph? Does he have access to the deck? You have to like keep him off the deck.
Well, it will dry really quickly, but I just am having him go out front. So it's a good thing you guys can't smell me because I went to the gym and then came home and just started painting and I was like, oh well, I better clean up because I gotta get on podcast. So woo.
I have a quick question for Charlie, so you guys can just like talk amongst yourselves. But
okay.
So anyway, with the Florida Panthers winning the Stanley Cup last night, and Bob being their goalie, as a Blue Jackets fan, do you root for him or are you pissed that he won a cup?
I do not root for him because he left. But no, I don't root for him.
Well, the Blue Jackets didn't even try to re-sign him.
Well,
at the time they said he wasn't good enough.
Well, that's a different story. But
and since then, how have the Blue Jackets done?
Oh,
not good. Okay.
And he just won the cup, so just wanted to get your.
That group's not here anymore.
We've moved on. We don't look in the past. We look forward.
We don't really look forward either. We just kind of.
We're looking way forward.
Please don't leave the town.
All right. Well, we got to get a couple big items out of the way that happened in CrossFit in the last 48 hours. And I'm going to start with Don Faul was on Coffee Pods and Wods. And about 35 minutes into the conversation, the first 35 minutes are about affiliates and growing CrossFit and all of that stuff. And not that that's not important, but it doesn't really pertain to us. 35 minutes, they start talking about media. And when they start talking about media, it starts with that there is a group of people out there that are being very negative and cutting down individuals. And Don Faul doesn't like it. And he actually, I believe, got emotional about his response to that group.
Well, it's very clear who that group was, and then they addressed it.
Yeah. Murph's pissed about it too. Peter then followed up with, are we talking about Hiller? And he said, yes, he is part of that group. And then he got very emotional and said that, when he signed up for this, he knew that this stuff was coming. But some of the people that they have hired did not know this was coming, and it's unfair to them to be attacked in this way. So I will open it up for your thoughts.
Who's getting attacked?
So if you haven't seen...
No, I mean, I have seen, and that's why I'm still asking the question. Like, so who's being attacked?
The chief people officer has been attacked.
Is that JD?
Jada Coons was attacked at one time. There's another person like a couple weeks ago that was listed as somebody too. I can't remember.
Attacked verbally?
Hiller put out a video using like a video he got of them and then make statements about that person throughout. I believe they don't say specifically in this interview what they're pissed about. And I say they because simultaneously on the same day, Dave did his week in review and said the same, almost verbatim what Don Faul said about like basically don't hurt my family. If you want to come after me, great. That I can take it, but don't come after the other people who signed up for this, who didn't sign up for this. So Aaron Fraser says, he used their own words. So basically he plays a video, uses what they said, and then gives his commentary on that.
Yeah, I don't know if I would call that attacking, but
who is Hiller and why would he care? What's Hiller gonna do? Great, you talked about okay. Have your little podcast.
Well, I mean, he's got a huge platform, and I think he's trying to expose things about the organization that maybe he doesn't agree with, or that he doesn't think most people agree with. Because I do think I think in his mind, he's representing a large faction of people that are fans of the sport or that are doing the methodology. And he definitely, causes, it's polarizing, right? I mean, you're either kind of for him or against him. It's hard to sort of play the play a middle role there. But I think it's entertaining. I think he tries to entertain his audience, and I don't know. Do you guys think he's crossed the line on this stuff? Is that what I'm hearing?
I think he is really passionate about CrossFit, and I think he is a great benefit to CrossFit because of that, because he cares so much. Like if he wasn't caring as much about CrossFit, then why would he be dabbling and speaking so much and using his platform for it? It did give me a little bit of pause when Don was saying when he attacks individuals, and I don't want to reference that I think that he necessarily attacks individuals, but I do think he calls out individual people.
He targets, right?
Targets,
I think that's a better word. Yeah.
Yeah, targets individual people. And so I can see how individual people would feel, like that's a big response to them. But I was more so thinking of the athletes and them being targeted and called out for reps and things. I wasn't necessarily looking at it from the whole corporate aspect of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think this was specifically about the HQ staff that are being attacked. So Paul Kane is saying Hiller didn't cross a line. Trying to see what else. What I would say is I do think Hiller crosses a line at times, but I think he's okay doing that. I think that if you want to be the biggest name in the sport of CrossFit and your YouTube channel to be the biggest, you can't sit on the fence. You can't straddle the line. And I think that he does go over the line on purpose at times for effect. And now it's an official podcast. Official.
I'm doing that a lot lately.
I do think on the other side, I do think HQ has messed up some things. And we'll get into that in a second, especially with the media side. But I think that Hiller's playing that line. What I don't like is that instead of reaching out to Hiller and having a conversation with him, everybody's just kind of the play by CrossFit HQ is to let's not give him access to anything. Let's not give him a media credential. Let's not let him inside the ropes. But none of that is going to stop him. And nobody has reached out to him to say, one, how do you have this big YouTube channel and how can you help us grow ours? What can we do to work together as opposed to working against each other? Nothing.
I think we should read some of these comments because I think it's important to expose different people's ideas on here as well.
Okay, so Anderson said, I think Hiller was making a lot of inferences on how HQ is doing things based on what was said in that video. Lynn says that Hiller targeted people like Brian Friend. That's when I stopped watching. That to me was crossing a line, and I can see where Dawn is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Molo Please says the problem with Hiller is that he will speak with assumptions about individuals, and that understandably upsets HQ. I don't blame Dave and Dawn's responses. Molo says, at the end of the day, though, why would Hiller change anything? He's blowing up in views and followers. Even if everything he says is false or inflated, he's only growing.
Yeah.
And let's finish up with Kenneth. Outside looking in, I would say 70% of what HQ Dave get given in terms of Hiller content and get mad about is taken out of context.
Here's one interesting one I want to bring up too.
Yeah. Jade.
But Jada Kuhn says, like, and Peter said this in the interview, he's risen from the ashes.
Yeah.
He has come back and said that he did make that statement, but he's changed his mind. He's done all these things. He was thrown to the fire, but came out of it on the other end. And I don't even think Hiller has said anything bad about the Coons in the last 6 months. So I think like he has come out of it on the other side. We'll have to wait and see about some of the other things that have happened.
Yeah, I'll see you in a few minutes.
Amy had something really important to say too. Now we're gonna miss it. Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, this space is a very weird space for all of us, and it always has been. You know, for people to be suspect of the way things are run, and I mean, I've always had like a little bit of conspiracy theory in the back of my pocket with like the games and the different events, and you know, thinking that they're trying to get certain people to win, and they play favorites, and I mean, all this other stuff doesn't really surprise me. It just, I feel like if you dug into any other sport, if any other sport was as small as this was and had such a cult following, I think they'd be in the same position where you'd have people being able to poke holes at every corner, because there are probably holes at every corner. I mean, it's a mishmash of people coming together trying to run this organization. Let's face it.
Everything's going to have people like Hiller that say different things, the opposite things. I mean, nobody apparently likes Roger Goodell, and he's got bigger people and bigger platforms talking about different things, but they still run their business, if you will. And they make changes that need to be changes and move on. I mean,
and I think Hiller's brought to light a lot of the things that need to change, and I think they've acted on a handful of them.
Kenneth is,
you know,
right.
It's just, a lot of it's the stuff that we kind of were always thinking about, but we're afraid to talk about. I mean, I know as an affiliate owner, I was afraid to talk about some things. I thought they would yank my affiliate. I was, as an L3 coach, I thought I was afraid to say things because I thought they would yank my credentials, and they still could. And you know, if I was inflammatory enough, or ban me from the games, or not let me, you know, the whole thing about when I was a judge at one of those like Granite Games and I totally messed up and I was afraid to tell anybody because I thought they would just like escort me out. You know?
Kenneth says CrossFit fans are like wrestling fans, extremely passionate and extremely biased, opinions that likely won't change. I think I don't agree with everything Hiller does, right? I don't think anybody would, but I think like there's a spot for him, and I've always defended that he has the right to say whatever he wants to say. I think that CrossFit is making the mistake of feeding into it. By coming at him directly, all they're doing is feeding him.
But they're also, I feel like they're not getting past the clicks and the baits, because they have even said that they haven't watched his content, which I understand. He has a ton of content. How could they possibly watch it all? But I think they need to be careful about making statements as well if they're not consuming the content. Right? Like there's been ones like where you click on it, it's like the 5 worst things about CrossFit, when really it was a good thing about CrossFit. Right. But you would see that title and be like, well, screw that guy. If he's not going to support us, I'm not going to look at it.
Corey says, Kat, they took Sousa's affiliate off the affiliate map because they don't agree with some of his views.
Yeah, I heard something that like his affiliate was not in good standing anymore because he hadn't renewed his credentials or something like that.
But he had.
Oh, okay. Then
yeah,
that's not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so that proves my point.
When the new affiliate stuff came out, you had a year to get an L2, and he had signed up for it in January.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So anyway, I just, the other part I wanted to talk about is that Peter hit him with the fact that the YouTube channel has not had a new post in like 40 days. And Dawn went on about the expense of all that and how, you know, they're focusing in other directions. And I just want to use this as an opportunity to say, we have been hammering home that there are and not just us, tons of third-party media out there with great content. Share.
Whoa.
Sorry. I got lots of screens around.
He's trying to get us more viewers.
Trying to multitask.
Great content.
This just changed to an OnlyFans account.
This is my real job office, guys. I got other things happening here. Sorry, I had to.
No, it's okay.
Show you something, Don.
It's a better way to do that, maybe. I don't know.
So there are a lot of third-party media with great content out there that all they would have to do is share it to their YouTube channel. That takes no expense. None. Zero.
Well, I mean, Don said that he thought that YouTube is the space where they thought they had room for growth.
Right, but I would actually argue that they have put out very little on the other social media aspects as well. Yes, they put out.
I've seen a lot of TikTok content out of Mike Koslap. He works for CrossFit, right? Like he had a cross, but he was on the floor during semifinals. Like he had that extra special credentials, and he's put out 1 million. I mean, it's not anything that, it's not informational. It's more like, exercise porn, but whatever.
Yeah.
I think they got more things to fix than YouTube. Oh.
There's
Frank wants to get involved.
Frank and Murph want to have a little convo.
Larry Young says that has to be the thumbnail for the video. Cats.
Oh, what? My crotch. Awesome.
And again, saying that they can't because it costs too much is ridiculous. Andrew Hiller made a video a day. And I think Peter actually said that, like, here's a guy in his garage making content for basically nothing once you have the equipment, and you guys aren't putting out anything. And then to blame it on the cost of that is utterly ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, CrossFit needs to hire Andrew. Isn't that the whole point? I think that's Andrew. No.
I think that is at least talk.
That's the end game.
Strategize together.
Hire him. He would be so good for them.
But see, then he wouldn't do all this stuff. And then
exactly
him. You turned, and then
he'd go crying into a bag of money and say he was right.
And be like, oh, that's wrong with CrossFit. Well, you guys are the problem. Then it'll be you guys are the problem, not CrossFit.
I bet he makes way more money what he's doing than he could possibly.
I don't know, man. Like, it takes a lot to make some money on YouTube. Now, I know he's making way more than we are, but and YouTube takes a huge cut. But what I would say, Charlie, is if they hired him, wouldn't he just become the Loki? And could you really, really trust him?
Yes. Because I think it's all a work.
I mean, he'd get eyeballs on the sport tenfold of what CrossFit's able to do on their own.
I mean, wasn't he?
I don't think they understand the value of that.
Wasn't he really on Mayhem for a long time, and then he got invited, and all of a sudden?
Was that a kid or your wife?
That was a kid.
It was a kid.
Okay.
Oh
well.
Yeah. I don't even know where we were after that, but
episode 1, that's what it is.
That's the difference from Greg Glassman CrossFit Today's CrossFit. Greg tried to grow the whole pie for everyone, and now everyone's piece got bigger. Now they just want to cut out a bigger piece. So
I told you Greg needs to buy it again.
He would never do it.
Mm-mm.
He just doesn't need the headache anymore. So then let's move to Dave's Week in Review, where he had the same things to say. And on Sunday, he released his first in an athlete series with Brooke Wells, where he's doing 5 to 10 minute interviews, where on Sunday he said with all 80 games athletes. On Monday,
a la Clydesdale Media.
Yeah.
No way.
On Monday, he backed that down to say, I'm going to try to do as many as possible.
Yeah, because he realized what the amount of work is going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, just scheduling 80 of them alone, he'd need an assistant to do that.
the booking of guests is the hardest part of doing what we do.
100%.
Schedules are stupid with these athletes. And
I would imagine he's pretty busy getting ready for the games. Like, I'm sure he doesn't have a whole lot of free time.
So I have 2 questions about this series. Is it a conflict of interest?
It could be interpreted as such, especially if he doesn't get all 80, right? Playing favorites. I mean, Brooke was his first one. That was, that's a huge tell.
Well,
he loves her.
Yeah.
On a side note, is he infatuated with Brooke?
100%.
Because he mentioned Brooke at least 3 times in the Justin Medeiros interview.
Oh, he loves her. Yeah.
So I think it's a conflict of interest because he has said repeatedly they don't have a finalized test until they get to the games. They're changing stuff the week of the games. And when you're asking questions like, what do you want to see? What don't you want to see? Those are questions that can influence a programmer.
Yeah. Didn't really think about it, but yeah, could be.
Well, I don't know about Dave though. He's pretty, you're not going to tell him what to do.
No, but you can naturally.
No, but is he using it? Is he using it as a way to either avoid movements or include movements based on his personal preferences? There's a bias there that you kind of can't avoid, and it's unconscious.
And Fraser even said that about Dave.
Yeah, he tried to put stuff he wasn't good at in.
I mean, he knows enough about some of the bigger athletes, but some of the other ones maybe he doesn't.
I guess, yeah. Why did this all happen? Why does Dave thinks he needs to be the one to interview all the athletes? Just because he wants to?
They don't have money to pay anybody else to do it.
So he said in his week in review that the reason he's doing it is he felt disconnected from the athletes. He realized that as he's been on these different shows that he doesn't even know who the athletes are anymore. And these quick 5 to 10 minute interviews at least gives them an idea of the athletes that are out there.
If he's going to do that, I think it should be a predetermined set of questions, and it should be the same for everybody. Almost like an athlete, like a screening, like an athlete screening, right?
I'm kind of with Aaron. Like, why not have?
I think he's trying to grow his channel. I mean, more people are going to watch that shit than his weekend reviews.
So that brings up another thing. Why is all the news? Why is all the games content on his channel as opposed to the CrossFit Games channel?
Maybe it's a separate thing. Not CrossFit.
Well, it is. I mean, the YouTube channel's his for sure. Like, so now if he was ever going to give anybody money for helping him do post-production on his podcast, it was not going to come from CrossFit. It was going to come out of his pocket if he planned to give anyone any money for doing post-production on his podcast.
Why would he do that?
Just saying.
Has he done anything to audio in the last 5 months, 6 months?
He's put clips out. Yeah. He's got someone to do clips for him.
But not to Apple and.
I don't think so. No, he's just doing stuff on it. He's cutting up his stuff and putting it on Instagram.
Yeah. But he's cut out the whole audio podcast versions of his weekend review.
Oh, he has? Oh, well, because he doesn't have an avenue to do it because he was using ours.
Right. Right. Because when he stopped publishing to his audio page, like I can see that.
Right.
So
when we stopped publishing to his audio page.
Correct.
Right.
ACR is saying he's not doing the clips himself, ? No way.
No. So for a period of time, at least, I was doing his clips from the time he started, and I was also editing his weeks in review. He had a few items that he had me edit out. He would send me the raw video on a Google Drive that I created for him on my personal Google Drive, and he would post them there, and I would clip them for him and caption them and send them to him and then put them on Instagram. I asked for access to his Instagram account. He was not comfortable with that for whatever reason, and so he was posting them himself. But I was doing the captions, and I had to do the captions outside of Instagram, and you can do them in Instagram, which is cheaper and a little easier to do. But because I couldn't do it for him, he didn't do that. So when I did his post-production on those weeks in review, I did it and added the captions in the software that I use. And then
I wouldn't be surprised if they're not doing it for him.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think we had a conversation, and I think he said he found someone to do them. And it obviously wasn't me, because he and I just stopped talking for a period of time, and he wasn't doing any. And I reached back out to him, and he said that he had someone. So.
And then Kat would make the audio version and put it up onto.
Yeah, and then we would do the audio.
Spotify. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know that he's on StreamYard now. Like he just mentioned in his last week in review that he's on the StreamYard bandwagon. So maybe they're helping him.
Yeah, I think he did that to start doing the athlete interviews. Lynn said it's kind of the same questions, years in CrossFit, previous times in CrossFit Games. How was semis? What do you not want to see at the games? And I don't think we have a sample size big enough to like definitively say it's going to be a consistent.
They're the same, right?
We have two examples at this point. I'd like to see more examples to make sure. But even with that, and the question of what do you want to see, not see at the games, I think that crosses the line over to conflict of interest.
Well, and I would like to see him interview some people that he really doesn't know, because he said he's doing this because he doesn't know a lot of the athletes. And so far he's interviewed athletes that he knows very, very well.
Yeah. And even like he forgot Justin's first games was 2020 at the COVID games in the interview last night. So Andrew Sten, over under on the number of athletes he actually gets through.
Between now and the end of July, I say 25.
Molo says 21. I'm going to say 18.
Yeah, I don't think it's past 30. I think it's below 30.
Well, I heard from some people like they're athletes that don't speak English. Right? When you get over to Asia and Africa, you have a chance that they don't even listen, Corey. I'm saying 18 because I've done booking like that sucks.
Yeah.
Like if you don't understand how hard it is to book guests, like that's why I'm saying 18. He's going to dive into this and realize
it's way harder than he thought.
Right.
Yeah. I remember that first year when you and I went through, and I mean, it was spreadsheets and phone calls. And when we were trying to coordinate the two of us both in the interview, it was like, forget it. If you can just get the person and you're free, just do it.
Yeah. It gets to be just ridiculous.
Yeah. The fact that you've done it on your own for the last 2 years is super impressive, Scott. I don't know how you do it.
Because it's not starting the conversation. It's getting your two calendars to match
right
on a day where you have enough. Now 5 to 10 minutes might be a lot easier than I'm trying to do 60 minutes. Right. But still.
Yeah. And we're over that barrier of like, hey, this is who we are. These are the people we've talked to. Like, we're legit. Can you please talk to us? Now it's just, oh, I know who you are. Let's find some time. That's true.
These type of questions aren't getting to know them that much. It's more so just info for the games and curiosity on what they want to see there or not there. But he's Dave Castro, though. Athletes will drop stuff for Castro.
I think people
drop training. They will not
I
drop
think
money for Castro.
I think people will flex their schedules to meet with them, but he still has to make contact with them to ask. And then he, in fact, has to, have time for it as well.
Andrew says trying to coordinate while they're on full games prep is crazy. That pretty much
That's why we did semis and not games.
We just shut down, and I switch over to coaches because to get an athlete a month out, almost impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there are people that don't want to talk to Dave. Now, is there a fear factor if you don't? He may have that behind him.
I don't know.
I mean, as you mentioned before, like every time I say something about Dave or Dawn or CrossFit HQ, there's a piece in the back of my head going, well, that could be the end of my media credential.
Yeah, same.
And the athletes have to feel similar.
Right. With the way penalties are handed out, it's always possible.
Yeah.
Always possible.
Kenneth says, should ask them, do you train an affiliate? Do you have an L1?
Excellent question.
Yeah, I think that would be a good way to then use that platform to promote the affiliates, promote getting the credentials.
Right.
That's actually an excellent idea, Kenneth.
And encouraging athletes to do that too. I mean, maybe when we highlight athletes at the games, there should be something, on their jersey or, like, remember how didn't they used to have their affiliate name on their jersey? I thought that was, I feel like that was part of their uniform way back when. And like, that's kind of fallen off. Well, and if they were coaches, like that would be cool to have like their, if they're an L2 or an L3, put it on their sleeve of their uniform.
Do you remember if you were a past champion, you got like the little gold medal, like on your jersey?
Well, and then Matt and Tia ran out of space.
Yeah, there's so many.
There's too many. They couldn't do it.
Well, it's just like when you're counting up. When you get 5, you get the real big medal.
Oh, there you go.
The ones after it.
It's like
but they used to do that all the time. They used to do that all the time, put affiliate names on. Because I can remember seeing photographs of, different athletes with their, CrossFit Krypton underneath the name and whatever else.
Yeah,
if you really want to promote affiliates, like that's 100%. How you do that.
Mm-hmm.
When Reebok was doing the jerseys, Christie's behind me has CrossFit Polaris.
Yeah.
Underneath her name.
Yeah.
The problem is half the people wouldn't have affiliates next to them because a lot of the athletes don't train at affiliates.
I think that's where the problem came in. And then there was this big push to, can we put our training camp?
Right.
And, right.
Yeah.
And I think that's that position of like, are we still CrossFit, the methodology, or are we now just sport?
Yeah.
Carolyn said how they got started, where they train, L1, more. That's more relevant, I think, than route would be great. Stay away from the personal games events and strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, I think that's fair, for sure.
I want to throw a teaser out there for next week. Can we talk about my extracurricular substances, supplements? I want to talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
All right.
That's definitely very nefarious leaving.
And Charlie got kicked off somehow. He was trying to get back in.
Oh. Okay.
But either his dog or a kid has chewed through a line, I'm guessing.
Or, I mean, it could be the storm.
Could be.
We got a storm going on. That's why Murph was going crazy.
But I do think Carolyn's correct. But I think that's where like the third party media has been doing that for a long time. And why not just share some of that information?
Yeah. I need to know, because Andrew's on here real quick. Andrew, I need to know if you're going to be at the games this year. I'm not going, and I need to know if you're going. I have a favor. Okay, now you go ahead, Scott.
I'm going to the games this year.
Oh, you are? Okay, I didn't know if you had decided that or not.
Yeah, I bought tickets Sunday night.
Okay.
Because I was going to go to Metcon Rush.
Yeah.
with Thick Boy, but Julie scheduled a vacation that weekend, so it was Metcon Rush or divorce. I chose not divorce, and so I plane tickets from Columbus to Fort Worth, are as cheap as $90 round trip. And when I saw that, I was like, I can almost not afford, like, that makes it affordable.
Yeah.
I'm trying to kick Kat out, but I can't. I don't know what it's done to me.
She gone.
So if you need anything there.
Yeah, you know what I want.
I don't remember. You can tell me after.
My level 3.
Oh, yeah. There was one other thing. So Hiller, speaking of Hiller, for most of this, he did a post, and then we'll do this and get out of here. Did you see Hiller's post about Northern Spirit not getting semifinal uniforms kit for Jessica Kalagian? If you didn't see this, what happened was she got to the venue. They said they never got her survey on her uniform, or it fell through the cracks or something like that. They said that they would make it right by having some made and get her one of all the stuff with her name on it. When she put it in the athlete survey, she was told that they no longer could do that, and she wasn't going to get anything with her name on it, and that they're sorry about that. I think that's pretty shitty.
Yeah.
I know that they're making stuff for the Masters games and the teen games. How can they not just put another set of stuff in and print a couple shirts, a couple sports bras, couple whatever? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty shady. I mean, she definitely deserves her stuff. And I mean, yes, she deserves her stuff.
And we talked about Sunday night how the Masters are only getting 3 uniforms for 12 events, usually 3 in a day. And they're probably going to have to go to the laundromat every single night, which is ridiculous for a CrossFit Games athlete. There's going to be a reel coming out later today on that, clipping that up from us, as Jamie is one of those athletes, and she had a lot to say.
I'm sure. Was that one of her riffs?
That is one of her riffs. And Dex is real happy about it as well. He said Dex is super happy that we're going back to Reebok neon colors again, the worst era of CrossFit Games uniforms, which I completely disagree with.
I like them.
It was the one era where I could tell who the athletes were.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved the orange shoe era. That was 15?
Yeah, like 13 through 17.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And they gave them so many different varieties that they could mismatch, and then you could tell who was who once you. It was great. One last teaser, and we'll get out of here. Next week, let's talk about how this Olympic coverage is showing how CrossFit should do their streams better, and how. And the reason I say that, last night, an Olympic medalist, a gold medalist, tripped in the 800.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They didn't stay on her in the trip and the fall, even though it was the story of the race. They finished the race.
Yeah.
Then went to that. And I want to talk, and it's been in swimming, it's been in track and field, it's been a lot of stuff that I just want to talk about next week.
Okay.
About how CrossFit can do better by looking at other events like Olympic sports and how they cover a race. Yes,
I think that's very valid.
So with that, thank you everybody for being here. Kenneth says Dex is still just stuck in the Old Testament mindset of earth tones only. There you go. With that, we're going to head out of here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Thick Boy. Still love the stuff. And we'll see everybody next time on the Clydesdale Media Roundtable. Bye, guys.